Alexander Volkanovski defeats Diego Lopes by unanimous decision, 48-47, 49-46, and 49-46. An amazing performance by Alexander Volkanovski. He fought this fight very intelligently. As a technician going up against the power puncher, he did mix it up with Diego in a few of those exchanges, and some of them he was winning, some of them he wasn't. But ultimately, he was working off the jab and leg kicks to not only land throughout the entire fight, but also to bait out the power punches of Diego Lopes. Many times he'll throw out a jab or fake the jab, and that would get Lopes to throw his own power punch forward, missing Volkanovski. Volk was a step ahead throughout most of the fight, but eventually those power punches connected. Volk had to survive, recover, and get back to winning the fight. A lot of sticking and moving, especially in that fifth round, and he fought that round very intelligently. Right? He didn't play Diego Lopes' game. He didn't trade shots as much with him, just sticking and moving, laying the jab and moving around. And Lopes' game very frustrated. Now, there were some eye pokes. From Volk that also frustrated Lopes, but Lopes just couldn't land that big shot. But there's a reason why Alexander Volkanovski has one of the highest fight IQs in the game. And Lopes is taunting him, screaming at him, do all that crazy stuff, while his punches are missing, and Volkanovski just peppering him in the face with the jab and constantly moving around the octagon. And at the highest level, Volk is not going to get psyched out by Lopes taunting him and screaming at his face and stuff like that. No, Volk knew he was winning the fight. Diego Lopes was getting frustrated. He was getting jabbed in the face throughout that entire fifth round, and he couldn't cut off the cage effectively. And the thing about that as well is, Volk was the shorter fighter, winning at distance. Lopes is 5 inches taller, has an inch reach advantage, and he could not stop Volkanovski from sticking and moving, winning off the jab from range. That's a skill issue, because he should be the one winning at distance, not Volk, given the attributes. Volkanovski fought a great fight, and the thing is, Lopes' jab was actually good. He just didn't use it often enough, and Lopes was an absolute juggernaut out there, eating Volkanovski's best punches, the kinds of punches that would knock anybody out. I mean, he was punching through his head with his fist. Lopes eats it like it's nothing. Many shots, overhands, left hooks, right straights. Volk was hitting this guy with his full arsenal and rarely was able to hurt Lopes with those shots. One punch doesn't even have to be flush, and he rocks Volkanovski. Lopes' power was so outrageous that he dropped Volkanovski with an overhand that didn't even land flush. His arm hit the shoulder as his hand hit the side of the face of Volk and dropped him off of that. Like, can you imagine if he actually dug through the jaw with that punch, instead of it getting absorbed on the shoulder from the arm hitting it? Volk probably would have been knocked out, and Volk was leaning away in a straight line from his longer opponent, which is never the best move because the punch could still land, but Volk adjusted to that. It looked like he was frustrated with himself that that punch landed on him. So then he started to move on angles instead, right? He started leaning away on angles. You know, it was harder for Lopes to land those kind of punches then. Volk was also using a really cool technique where he was throwing a right low kick or faking it, and then throwing the right overhand at the same time with that one movement, one single motion, right low kick, right overhand, both same side combinations. That's something you don't see from a lot of fighters, man. It's a really cool technique because the right low kick, if it gets the opponent to raise up their own leg in order to evade the kick, they could be stationed there, right? They have nowhere to move because their leg is up in the air. But that is just a bait from Volk's leg kick so he could land the overhand as his opponent is standing still. And throughout the fight, it was just jab and low kick, left jab, left leg kick, and it was baiting out a lot of the power punches from Diego Lopes. And Lopes was just trying to land that big shot. The commentator said it perfectly. I think it was Joe Rogan who said that Lopes is looking for the home run every single time. It's exactly how he fights, right? He's not a technician. He's not like a highly technical fighter like Volk is, but he's a power puncher, and very few fighters at featherweight hit as hard as this guy. It also combines with that long reach because a lot of the other power punchers, like Josh Emmett, Chad Mendes, Ilia Topuria, like a lot of these guys are shorter. They're very compact, so they're able to explode with a lot of power. Diego Lopes is tall and long while carrying that power as well. You don't see a lot of fighters like Diego Lopes who are 5'11" with a 72-inch reach carrying that kind of power. But he was throwing power punches like in the Ortega and Ige fights. He was trying to land the overhand over the jab, just like in those fights, but Volk was too fast. And I was very surprised by Volkanovski constantly wrestling throughout the fight. That just goes to show you the high fight IQ of this all-time great. He wasn't necessarily trying to get the fight to the ground. I mean, if the fight went to the ground, it'd be great, but he didn't need that, right? He just needed to offset Lopes, clinch up with him against the fence, which I thought Lopes would actually have the advantage in the clinch. No, but Volk had a lot of success from there, landing punches against the fence, controlling the position better, landing a few knees as well. Like, Alexander Volkanovski was mixing up the game so well after those two knockout losses, after getting dropped by Lopes, where he was dominating the fight. I mean, he was absolutely winning this fight handily if it wasn't for the power of Diego in a few moments, right? Diego only had a few moments in that fight, but it was enough to win rounds, which is crazy. Alexander Volkanovski was winning like 23 minutes of that 25-minute fight. Diego Lopes was winning like 2 minutes and still was winning rounds off of that. That's so crazy. It was almost the example when he got dropped the first time. It was like Volk has to be perfect for 25 minutes and Diego has to be perfect one time. To be more accurate, maybe like 5 times or 7 times or something, you know. He was going up against a guy he couldn't knock out with everything he had, and as a power puncher, dropped him, able to hurt him, and constantly wanted to bring the fight. I mean, throughout, he was taunting Volk to throw down with him, exchange, trade punches. Great move on Volk to not engage with that. And Diego Lopes has to be able to throw more jabs and feint better and cut off the cage and stuff like that, because if he's going up against the best fighters in the world like Volk, he's going to need those kind of technical abilities. You cannot be the best in the world purely off power punching. In the featherweight division, of course. Heavyweight's different. Volkanovski yet again proves to be one of the best in the world, and it just raises the question, how good is Ilia Topuria, man? He knocked Volk out in the second round. He did the thing that Lopes could not pull off. Now, it was always where he got knocked out by Islam before the Ilia fight a few months before and stuff, but the position that Ilia was able to get Volkanovski in with that striking was a position in a punch, essentially, that Volk would never have been able to take, right? Ilia's one of the hardest punchers in featherweight history, right? He's like maybe just behind Josh Emmett and maybe Jeremy Stevens or something like that, but he's a lot more lethal of a puncher because he has much better timing than those guys. So to be accurate, he's not the most powerful puncher, but he's the most lethal puncher in featherweight history. Power for power, he probably doesn't like hit at the same number, the same metric as Josh Emmett, but he's able to find the chin easier. He has better timing. He has better precision with that outrageous power. So it just goes to show you, man, Ilia Topuria is on a different level. And he's only getting better, too. Like, that guy is still getting better. Volk seems like he might, I won't say Volk is getting better, but he's adding new techniques to his game. Adding new techniques doesn't mean that you're getting better, because maybe there's different parts of his skill set that are declining, or his attributes, right? Maybe his chin is not as good as it was, but he certainly was adding some good techniques in this one. The fake low kick into an overhand, wrestling and clinching up so well with Diego Lopes, who is known for his jiu-jitsu skills, very dangerous on the ground. Like, that just goes to show you Volk's confidence to grapple with someone like Diego Lopes and use it in a way from to gain advantage in the fight. One of the highest fight IQ fighters, I think, in UFC history, right? There are moments where he gets hit and dropped and stuff like that. Volk has never had the best chin. He's always had like an average chin, I would say. Like, he's been dropped a few times throughout his career, even before those knockout losses. So I don't think he always had the best chin, but he has eaten some big shots as well. So I don't know. It's hard to say what Volk's chin is like after the Diego Lopes fight. I think it's good. I think it's good. I mean, he didn't get knocked out. He took some big shots, didn't get knocked out. I think Volk is still, I don't know about prime form, but definitely close to it at the very least. So absolutely amazing win for Alexander Volkanovski, in my opinion, okay? As a Jose Aldo fan, I mean, Jose Aldo is the fighter that I watched since I became a fan of the sport. If there's any fighter I am biased for, it's Jose Aldo. And I think at this point, Alexander Volkanovski is the greatest featherweight of all time. Above Aldo, you have to give credit where it's due. From the comeback and beat someone like Lopes, who proved to be a very good fighter. He's now a 2-time world champion. He has like, what, 7 title wins, which is like 4 away from Aldo, but still, the quality of his wins are so good. I have to give it to Volk, man. And for him to win the title yet again, this late into his career, you have to give Volkanovski the GOAT status. I mean, I can still understand the argument for Aldo, but I think, in my opinion, I think Volk has surpassed Aldo in the featherweight division.